Want to expand the reach of your content? Start a podcast. Feature industry experts on your show and leverage the influence and reach of your guests to grow your brand. Learn more at sweetfishmedia.com.
You're listening to the B2B Growth Show, a podcast dedicated to helping B2B executives achieve explosive growth. Whether you're looking for techniques and strategies or tools and resources, you've come to the right place. I'm James Carberry.
And I'm Jonathan Green.
Let's get into the show.
Welcome back to the B2B Growth Show. Today we are joined by Kevin Capp. He is the CEO and Chief Customer Officer at CustomerSuccess.Pro. Kevin, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks, Jonathan. Glad to be here.
It's great to have you here. And Kevin, CustomerSuccess.Pro. Customer Success is literally the name of your company, which is something we're going to be talking about today. It's been top of my mind. It's obviously top of mind for you frequently. But before we get into that, we would really like to know a little bit more about what you and your team at CustomerSuccess.Pro are up to these days.
Yeah, it's great to be on the B2B Growth Show. I enjoy all the great speakers you guys have, and our company, we're all about helping companies to reduce churn, right? And customer success is something where it started here in the last 5-6 years or so, and we just love providing amazing and affordable customer success services to companies that maybe don't have their own internal program. They haven't been ready to hire staff to focus on this, but they're getting customers, they're growing, and they want to have a playbook. They want to have a strategy. They want to start making sure their customers stay on with them as long as possible. So we help companies of all sort, and it's been a real fun ride here over the last 5 years or so.
That's fantastic. Yeah. And, customer success can be such a huge part of the equation. You have companies that are, they're focused on onboarding new clients, companies that are focused on putting the right message out there with their marketing. But customer success is, it's a huge part of that puzzle. But for the people listening to our podcast that maybe don't know exactly what customer success is, can you give everyone a quick little overview?
Yeah. I'm going to start out with the scholarly definition, if you don't mind. It's a proactive, holistic, and organizational level approach to leveraging technology to gain real sight visibility into your customer health and ensure that those customers continually and increasingly receive value from your product and service. That's a mouthful. I like to just say customer success is about increasing adoption and reducing churn.
That's cleaner. That's cleaner than the textbook definition.
Yeah. So, it encompasses a lot of different things, so it's hard to just say in a quick soundbite what it is. But if you just focus on the fact of the importance of keeping customers for a long term, that's where you get into all the plays and strategies and solutions. So we'll get into that a little bit later, but that's a quick overview of what it is.
Yeah, and I guess here's the follow-up question: is customer success simply a new word for customer support? Customer support has been around for as long as I remember, I'm sure, that's listening to the show. Is it just sort of reframing that?
Yeah. And by the way, I get confusion with my family and friends on that. I'll tell them I'm in customer success management, and they say, "Oh yeah, that's really important. I've just was on the phone with a company and they did terrible. These companies need to do better at customer service." And so, yeah, there's a lot of confusion out there, right? And that people think that it's just a new version, a new way of saying customer service, but it really is different. Customer service, I would say, it's a more reactive, solving a customer problem after they have it. Customer success is all about figuring out how to get customers to their goal before they have any problems. It's a proactive approach versus a reactive approach, and I would submit to you that customer success is more closely aligned with sales and marketing. than service, although it bridges the gap a lot of times. Mm-hmm. But it is closely aligned with keeping the customers happy, which is a sales and marketing role. Yeah, I was just at the Customer Success Forum, Jonathan, in San Francisco this week, and I heard an interesting statement by the CEO of Satmetrics, Richard Owen. He was saying that marketing spend is simply a tax on your business's inability to get customers to advocate for you. Mm-hmm. That's kind of a provocative statement for all those marketers that's listening to you out there. But the fact that customer success, you need to be able to get those customers to advocate for you and to be in your corner, because if they're leaving, then marketing has to find more customers.
Yeah, they have to work that much harder.
Yeah, and if your churn is let's say it's 5% a month, that's pretty darn high. If you're not aware that that means that almost half your customers are leaving every single year, right? And marketing and sales have to replace those just to break even on revenue. And so having a customer success team where they're absolutely laser-like focused on ensuring the customers are getting what they need so that they adopt your product is critical.
Yeah. And I don't want to get ahead of you, but I just had a couple of thoughts that popped into my mind. I mean, you're talking about how closely aligned it is with sales and marketing, this idea of customer success. Marketing, number one, that's free marketing, basically, if you have customers that are out there and advocating for you. Also, number two, I think, and maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong, but an element of customer success is also finding maybe the right fit with an existing customer. If you have a product or service that is an even better fit for what they need, they're paying you X amount of dollars, but this other package would be a better fit for, slightly more money or whatever it is. I mean, that is also part of customer success, finding the right fit even for those existing customers. And I feel like that is an element of sales.
Yeah, so it's a big debate in the industry in customer success on where the upsell, renewal, cross-sell type of responsibility lies. Does customer success have to nurture all these clients, make sure they adopt, and then you get around to the renewal or upsell opportunity, and do they have to bring sales back in? It's a big question out there. I'm a big proponent of customer success taking on that responsibility. I've done that when I was in customer success in businesses. I handled those. I felt it was a more natural conversation, but there's lots of companies where customer success just brings sales back in at that point. But you've hit the nail on the head there. Regardless of who actually closes that, customer success is critical for identifying those opportunities and at least doing the upsell or bringing sales in at that point.
Yeah. And all right. And so just so our audience knows, this is not just an episode, a free for all of feel goodery. We want our customers to feel good about themselves. Let's link it back to something tangible like ROI. Let's talk about this. Let's return on your investment. Let's talk about tangible benefits to the company.
Yeah, and it is significant. Customer success has a huge responsibility for revenue with the subscription model, right? In the old days of on-prem software, you get most of all your revenue up front. With subscription model, it all comes in the future. So who's responsible for keeping those? It's customer success. But what I want to point out is, remember my example of a company, let's say they have a 5% churn per month. If they reduce that by 1% a month, they're going to see a 30% increase in revenue at the end of 3 years. And the growth there, the revenue growth, it's an exponential model. Because they save one customer the first month they're doing this, and then the next month it's going to be two, because they save a new one, and then they have the one that they saved before, and it just exponentially grows. So So customer success, it maybe is a provocative statement to say, but they in a mature company can be responsible for more revenue and ensuring more revenue renews than sales ultimately.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, Kevin, what sort of advice then would you have for either companies that haven't implemented customer success yet, or perhaps companies that think they may have this element of customer success, but maybe it's, like you said, more closely related to customer support, and they're confusing that. So what kind of advice would you have for companies that are looking to grow their customer success initiatives?
Yeah, I would say that start out by making sure you calculate churn and do your data analysis accurately. They need to have a good understanding of how their customers are using the product, where they're not adopting it. So I guess what I'm saying is that data analytics is critically important. I had a company that was in the housing rental market. You can kind of think Airbnb, but it's slightly different. And their owners had me come in, and we started out with this data analysis, and we found out there was a segment of customers that had a much lower churn than their average, and it shocked them. It was not a customer segment that they were really marketing to. But when we identified this trend, if there's customers are staying on with them longer, obviously that's going to result in a higher lifetime value. And so you want to maximize that. We implemented plays to encourage those customers, and actually we implemented marketing plays to market to that segment because they really hadn't been doing it. So they had a win-win. They reduced their marketing on segments that weren't staying on with their product, but then they were getting the benefits of having longer term revenue with this segment that had less churn. So anyways, it's you just have to have people that were good with numbers, that enjoy digging into how the customers are using the product and figure out ways you can maximize their adoption.
Okay. Now, are there any common mistakes that you maybe see companies make when they're trying to implement customer success? Some pitfalls, some easily avoidable mistakes out there?
Yeah, I mean, there's quite a few. I guess the one I would say is not calculating churn correctly, and maybe this isn't as common in really mature companies, but I tend to go into companies that don't have customer success, and I ask them, well, hey, what's your churn rate? And they say, well, it's 3%, and later on I go and find out that it's about 5% per month. And so they're just not calculating churn. Here's the biggest mistake is they're adding in new customers into the calculation that are either staying on and shouldn't be in the calculation, or they're churning within the time period. And that masks the real problem, because again, we just talked about earlier, your new customers are kind of often masking your churn problem. What you need to do is only look at cohorts. The people that signed up in, say, the month of February, are they still customers today in March? That's the calculation, and so confusing that and adding in your customers that started in February can make it look better than it is.
Yeah. Kevin, I know we've touched on this a little bit, but I guess I would also like to, because you obviously have a lot of experience in the world of customer success. If you have, an interesting story about how you maybe helped a company either recognize a problem, develop a solution, whatever it is.
Yeah, I have lots of stories. I've great customers all across the U.S. actually, but I want to go back to my early days. I was working with a company called Mobile Pulse, and it was a situation where I made a mistake, and I think we often learn a lot from our mistakes. In this situation, it was in 2011, and I didn't know as much as I do now, but I made the mistake of tracking my customer health mostly by usage. And usage meaning how often are they logging into the product, right? Are they, and what are they doing in it? And so I categorized this one customer as healthy because they were logging into the product quite a bit, or at least just as much as the other one. And my mistake there was that I assumed usage of the product equals 100% healthy client that they're going to renew, and I was blown away and surprised when they didn't renew. And so as companies are going through the process of creating a customer health dashboard, a way to track if their customers are likely to renew or not, they need to account for more than just usage. They need to have some kind of metrics that are around whether the customer feels like they're getting value, because that's the bottom line. They may use your product, but if they don't feel like they're getting the value they should get, they will churn.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Kevin, if anyone, we could continue to talk about customer success all day, of course. This is your area of expertise. But if anyone in our audience is interested in learning more, they have follow-up questions, they want to find out about maybe some resources that you could recommend, or even connect with you and the CustomerSuccess.Pro team, what's the best way for them to go about doing that?
Yeah, you can find me on LinkedIn. My name's Kevin Capp, and the last name's spelled C-A-P-P. For those that are paying attention, yes, I just said PP on the webcast, but that's how you spell my last name. So on Twitter, you can find me at Reduce Churn, which is great. But our website is CustomerSuccess.Pro. We have some good information on there. Recommend you signed up for our newsletter. Keep apprised of what's happening in the customer success industry. So, I love having people reach out to me, and I'm going to continue listening to the B2B show because you guys do a great job, and I love the format and the information you provide, and I'm just learning a ton from all your guests.
Well, thank you very much, Kevin. You had mentioned earlier at the very beginning of the episode, the incredible guests that we've had the opportunity to feature on the show, and now you have joined that pantheon. So it's been great having you here. Thanks again for carving out a little time for us.
Thanks a lot.
To ensure that you never miss an episode of the B2B Growth Show, subscribe to the show in iTunes or your favorite podcast player. This guarantees that every episode will get delivered directly to your device.
If you'd like to connect with B2B executives from all over the world, make sure to join our private Facebook community. There are some incredible conversations happening inside this group. To join, visit b2bgrowthshow.com/FB.
Thank you so much for listening. Until next time.